Hello, this is Dr. Kilgore with Dr. Kilgore's World with a flipped math learning video. Make sure that you have your notes out in front of you and you are ready to write down our learning goal. So the learning goal for this video is I can convert metric units of length. We're going to talk about converting all units, both length, capacity, and weight. But our focus in this video today is all about length. So the guiding question is to figure out how many centimeters are in 3 meters. So in your notes right now, I want you to go ahead and make a table. It needs to be 5 columns wide by 8 columns down. So go ahead and put your table in your notes and then press play and we'll get moving together. Okay, go ahead and fill in your headings up at the top of your table and go ahead and fill in this first column with the prefixes. When we are converting metric units, these prefixes are essential for you to know what they mean. So let's look at the first one. Our first one is kilo. Kilo means 1,000. So our units for length, we have kilometers. You might have heard somebody talking about driving down the road in kilometers. We've got kilograms and kiloliters. Now, mass is going to be what we're going to weigh with a triple beam balance. And then capacity, I know that you have heard of a 2 liter of pop. So that's what we're talking about with capacity. In this case, a kiloliter would be 500 2 liters of pop. So the next one is not so widely used in the United States. We don't hear of hecto very often, but it means 100. So the length would be like a hectometer. Mass would be a hectogram, so it would be 100 grams, or a hectoliter. Our next one is deca, and deca stands for 10 in our base 10, our metric system of measurement here. So we would have a decameter, a decagram, and a decaliter. Our base units are what is important. That would be like our ones place, if we think about this like place value. So in our ones place would be a meter, a gram, or a liter. And then we get down to less than 1. So these are all going to be like our fractions that we've been working with. They're a part of the whole. So deca, that prefix means tenths. So a tenth of a meter would be a decimeter. A tenth of a gram would be a decigram. And a tenth of a liter would be a deciliter. Centa is actually our hundredths. So there are 100 centimeters in a meter. There are 100 centigrams in a gram. And there are 100 centiliters in a liter. Milli is the last one that we will learn, and that is our thousandths. So there are 1,000 millimeters in a meter. There are 1,000 milligrams in a gram, and 1,000 milliliters in a liter. So take a moment to get this chart completely filled out and then come back and press play, and we'll talk about what this means for converting between units. Okay, so I want you to think about metric measurement conversion being like stair steps. We either multiply by 10 for every step that we go up, or we divide by 10 for every step that we go down. So, if we have 5 meters, that would be on this base unit step right here. If we want to know how many centimeters that would be, well, we put our decimal back in. We're at 5 meters. We multiply by 10 to get to decimeters. Multiply 10 again to get to centimeters. Fill our holes with zeros, and that would be 500 centimeters. So 5 meters equals 500 centimeters. Okay, but what if I start with that same 5 meters? And I want to know how many kilometers that would equal. Okay, we're going to start with our base unit, 5 meters. Put our decimal in. Divide by 10 to get to decameters. Divide by another 10 to get to hectometers. And then divide by another 10 to get to kilometers. We fill our holes with zeros and a courtesy 0. So that would be 0.005. That's tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So 5 thousandths of a kilometer. So looking at this, we just keep practicing like this. Think about where you're starting. So if I start with a different unit, and then we think about how we move on the staircase. Okay, so if I start with 5 decaliters, so 5 decaliters is what we're going to say we're starting with. And I want to know how many centiliters that would be. Okay, put my decimal back in. Multiply 10 to go to liters. Multiply by another 10 to go to deciliters. And then by another 10 to go to centiliters. Fill those holes with zeros. And 5 decaliters would be 5,000 centiliters. Okay, so let's look at 70 grams. And I want to know how many milligrams that's going to be. Well, I have 70 grams. Knowing place value, we have to put a 7 in the decagrams and our 0 in our base units. That makes 70 grams. I want to go all the way to milligrams. So I multiply by 10 to get to deca, 10 to get to centa, and then another 10 to get to milla. Fill the holes with zeros and put a comma in. So 70 grams would be 70,000 milligrams. Okay, let's go with 47 decigrams. That's just DG. And I want to know how many decagrams. Deca is D-A-G. 47 decigrams. That means I have 4 grams and 7 decigrams. Put our decimal back in. We divide by 10 to get to grams and divide by 10 more to get to decagrams. See, I just go to where it is on my place value chart, add the courtesy 0. So 47 decigrams would be 47 hundredths decagrams. Okay, so let's look at what I would do if I were asked to convert. So if I want to know what 7 kiloliters equals in liters, okay, I would draw my King Henry chart. So King Henry died unusually. That's my units. It's going to be liters. Drinking chocolate milk. Okay, 7 kiloliters. So 7 would be in the kilo space. Hecto, deca, units. And put in the zeros and a comma in this case. It's important to know how to draw your King Henry chart so that you know where you're moving your decimal. In this case, we multiplied by 10, 100, 1,000 because there are 1,000 liters in a kiloliter. If we had 4 milligrams, and we want to know how many centigrams that would be, we draw our chart in. King Henry died unusually. It's going to be grams this time. Drinking chocolate milk. We have 4 milligrams, so our decimal is here. We want to know how many centigrams. Centigrams is right here. So that would be 4 tenths centigrams. Okay, let's look at 700 meters. And I want to know how many centimeters that would be. Okay, so I draw on my chart. King Henry died unusually. That's meters this time. Drinking chocolate milk. Okay, we have 700 meters. That means the last digit ends there. 700 meters. And I want to know how many centimeters that is. So meters, decimeters, centimeters. We multiplied by 10, 100. Go ahead and put the comma in. That should be 70,000 centimeters. Let's look at another practice here. If we have 2 and 5/10 centiliters, and we want to know how many liters that would be. We draw in King Henry died unusually. It's liters this time. Drinking chocolate milk. We have 2 and 5/10 centiliters. 2 centiliters and 5/10 of another one. We want to know how many liters that is, so taking our decimal to here, we divide by 10 to get to deci and 10 to get to liters. Our decimal goes here. We fill the hole with a 0, and of course that courtesy one. That is 25 tenths, hundredths, thousandths liters. Okay? Don't worry if this didn't all make sense now. We're going to be doing an activity in class today that will hopefully help you be able to see how this all really works in converting metric units.